Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Drexel Free Thought Society Weekly Podcast. The Drexel Free Thought Society is proudly and loudly and other adjectives the only secular organization at Drexel University. We promote talking, knowledge, reason, science, and challenging people on their unfalsifiable, unsupported, and sometimes harmful beliefs. Well, often harmful. If they're not harmful, we don't really care that much. Anywho, this week we are discussing more of our Lies and Misconceptions series. For our regular viewers, you all remember that Ray Comfort was our last subject in this series, and now we're going to go to a similar topic, which is kind of bad that it's a similar topic, false virtues. Virtues are, I guess we could just kind of throw it up in the air at the start. What are virtues?
Virtues.
They're like more, I'm sorry.
Something that somebody thinks or perceives is good in a certain way, in a certain aspect.
Sure.
Something held high value.
I would say they're tenets that one would believe in more generally morally. Tenets that someone believes in generally morally.
Yeah, I was going to say like certain moral standards that people abide by because they believe that it's for the betterment of society.
All right. Okay, we're refining it slowly, is he?
Just things to live by, just values.
All right. You guys are on top of these things. I guess I could actually use a dictionary.
Oh, we need to look up what the dictionary says about virtue.
Because Colleen is our news person, and I feel like the shows didn't start out correctly without news.
What happened to it?
Well, I have some news.
Is it related to atheism or secularism?
Well, it's secularism. People are knocking other people out in the middle of the street for no reason.
Go for it.
In a different state.
No.
Locally?
Well, even locally. This one woman got raped in Center City when there was like 1 million people around, but that's a totally different story.
Locally.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so people are getting knocked out. What's up with that?
So what teenagers are doing is they're randomly going up to strangers and hitting them and knocking them out.
Oh, not cocaine. No, I mean, I've heard of it on the news. It's not like
Yeah, well, he wanted a bit of news, so that's why I was...
That's what GTA 5 is for, not real life.
No, but someone was killed for doing that.
Oh.
I think that they're either severely injured or killed. No, someone punched them really hard in the face and then got shot twice.
Oh, he's still alive.
That kid's
he's
still
fine.
alive.
Oh, he's still alive. Okay. I hope he learned his lesson.
No, he didn't.
Nope.
If you look at the expression on this kid's face and how he's talking and everything, he seemed as if, this is just normal. He was basically being interviewed with a nice smile on his face, as if he didn't care he got shot twice. I just want to have fun. Yeah. So
I just like to point out the topic that before pointing this out and saying that's the boogeyman. What is causing this stupidity?
They're saying
in
they're
the
bored.
first place?
They're saying they're bored.
They're bored.
Go watch a movie.
Complete nonsense. What it is that
No, you see, actually, you say it's complete nonsense, but I agree. A lot of children, they're not being engaged on any level that they actually find fulfilling.
You have the internet.
No, educational programs are getting cut. After-school programs are getting cut. It's like families have to work like 3 jobs to stay alive, so their family life is crap. Like, there's a lot of people in a lot of really difficult situations. So I'm not terribly surprised that this is happening.
Why are they in the difficult situations in the first place? Might be an easy thing to answer, but just for me, why are these people in a very difficult situation?
A lack of guidance. Actually, I take back what I said as far as it being nonsense. But the thing is, when you have people who are supposed to be leading these kids, remember, even as a teenager, you're still impressionable. You still got the peer pressure stuff going on. You still got self-esteem going on. You still have, you're still trying to find yourself. And then when you have parents where, in some cases, they just had it really hard, or in some cases, they're just too lazy, which I think is the case, especially in Philadelphia. Parents aren't doing anything. Parents are just kicking them out. For example, 40th Street. You go on 40th Street, and I work near there, so I know. I will literally see parents and grandparents in a van dropping off 5 kids and driving away and not picking them back up until 12 o'clock midnight. So, in my opinion, it's like, wait, there's no excuse. You could be sitting down and teaching these teenagers something. You could be having them read a book. You can introduce them to sports, music, all these different programs. Some of these programs are being cut, but you can do some of these things at home. But the parents, they want to watch Breaking Bad. They don't want to hear any teenagers running around. They want to, they just say, go play the Xbox. Kids get bored of Xbox, go outside. It's nice out. So when you have adults who are supposed to know better, and they're not showing these kids the right way to go, and they're letting the TV teach them everything, you're going to have knockout games. You're going to have the flash mobs. You're going to have, let's take candy from babies. Let's rob people of their cell phones on 40th Street. That's where a lot of nonsense comes from.
I don't understand how he can be like, oh, this is like a normal everyday thing. We do knock out about 6 to 7 people on average. I'm like, what the hell? I'm sorry for my
Hell's not
a
okay, that's
word.
one of those words I can
Crud
say. Okay.
is. Oops.
But yeah, he showed no remorse at all that they're actually hurting people.
Is there something psychologically wrong with these people?
They're perfectly normal teenagers.
So they're not psychologically impaired in any way.
Nope, they're normal teenagers.
What is making them perceive that it's logically okay to punch random people in the back of the head?
Lack of guidance.
For no reason.
I think it's lack of
Video
guidance.
games.
I mean, it's not just video games.
It's not video
I just had
games.
to play the devil's advocate.
That's not the devil's advocate. That's ignorance advocate.
Lack of guidance.
I'd say it's disconnection. Disconnection. So, hypothetical situation. So, I have if I'm really sad, I have my 7 friends on Facebook. I have my family. I have the kids at my school. And hypothetically, no one else really matters. So I'm bored, and I see someone I've never seen before who doesn't know who I am, who probably couldn't identify me if I stood behind them and hit them with a shovel. So I'm going to hit them with a shovel. And then I'm going to walk away. And hypothetically, being disconnected and sort of closed-minded like that, I would think that's the perfect crime. Unless you're smart and realize there's cameras everywhere, and you'd probably be arrested within 10 to 15 minutes.
Well, maybe it's because they don't feel loved and they want to get anger out onto other people.
No, it's not
They're
even
bored.
that.
Well, maybe it is because
I mean-
these parents that usually have these parents that usually have them, as Dante actually brings up a lot of the time, they just have kids because they want to have sexual intercourse, and they have these kids and they drop them off. They do not care about what happens to them, so they don't actually give them any love or any sort of emotional connection, because babies need to be touched. That's the first thing you need to do. You need to hug the baby and stuff, and then later on things happen, and then they get messed up in the head, and they feel no remorse, and they start hitting random people in the back of the head because they're angry.
I don't think it's an anger problem.
I don't either.
They're bored. There's no guidance.
I think Josh might actually have hit this the best. There's just a disconnect between understanding consequences of actions.
I mean,
They're just kind of like, oh, this is a person. If I hit them in the head, they fall down. And then you're just like, oh wait, would I want to get hit in the head with a shovel?
But they don't think about that.
Yeah, they don't.
Lack of empathy.
Yes, is it?
I mean, think about it. Have you ever laughed at someone because they fell down the stairs?
No, I usually don't help them.
I don't.
No,
I
I'm
mean-
not a jerk.
Okay, but I mean, even as a little kid or something.
Yes.
No, my parents were like, that's wrong.
Okay.
I'm gonna get hit in the
Okay,
head
but
if I
let's say
laugh
you
at
didn't
someone.
have
Yeah,
parents.
it's Schadenfreude.
Or I'll give you an example. When I was 10 years old, I was pushed into the pool because the kid thought it was funny, and his friends all laughed, and they're like, "Ah ha ha! You pushed her into the pool!" Ha, ha. Like it's not even hitting them. That's a wrong thing to do.
You know what would happen to me?
It's funny.
My mom would come over and smack me behind the head so far I'd be seeing stars. They'd be like, what the hell are you thinking? That kid could have drowned. You don't know that they know how to swim. It's your parents that teach you what is right and what is wrong.
They don't think about
Well, I understand what you're saying, though, because there is a word for that. It's called Schadenfreude.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's like several words.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it when I was younger. If somebody got hurt, I would feel bad. Automatically, it would be an automatic response for me. But like I fell down the stairs once and somebody laughed at me for some reason, and it was Schadenfreude. So
that happened to me actually. Somebody actually even physically pushed me down the stairs.
Conversation topic needs more Germans.
ach, nicht.
It's a matter of if it doesn't happen to me and it happens so suddenly and random, it equals funny. That's why, whenever I see somebody slip on the ice, I don't laugh. No matter how goofy it looks, I just don't laugh because that person could have a cracked skull. People have died from this stuff, and I realize this. But a lot of people don't think about that because we're more of an entertainment kind of people. Instead of thinking about the consequences that happen. So that kind of translates into what the teenagers deem what's funny, what's not. They think that just clocking someone in the head and seeing them just black out and hit the ground, oh, that's hilarious, because it ain't me. I don't care.
Although I would like to say something that Izzy actually brought up video games, and even though I completely disagree with that statement, I would like to question that and say, well, you do usually see violence on movies and television, and you usually do that, but when you're playing a video game, you're actually participating in the action. So even though I disagree that it has any bad consequences to it, maybe it does. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's very isolated, and again, there's that lack of guidance. First off, why are 10-year-olds playing Grand Theft Auto 5?
Because their parents think it's okay to let them play Grand Theft Auto 5.
There's our problem. There's a lack of guidance. And even if you do have that parent that lets them play Grand Theft Auto 5, why is the parent telling them, son, the stuff you're about to see in this game is stuff that you should not do in real life. You should not punch people in the face. You shouldn't put hookers on the street and take their money. You shouldn't run them over with trucks. You shouldn't do that stuff.
You shouldn't
why not
kill
that?
the hooker
Because XYZ, blah, 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 blah. I highly doubt that a parent actually sits down and tells them what's in this game is stuff that even your parents wouldn't do. No, they just say, have fun, Junior. Play Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay.
And
this is I'm going to change gears a little just so we get into a news bite that's actually related to the club.
Oh, cool. What?
This actually happened a few days ago, and I completely missed it.
Just a knockout?
Obama was giving a recitation of the famous Lincoln Gettysburg Address speech and left out under God.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I didn't.
Because he knows his constituents don't all believe in God.
Okay, big deal.
But of course, the moment anything like this happens, everyone's like up in arms. It's like, how dare you neglect to say how dare you leave under God out of your speech?
It's funny that people get angry about that, yet most people don't get angry about the drones that he's using to kill people overseas.
What they need to get ticked off is about how all these school programs are getting shut down, not because he didn't say under God.
Yeah,
that just goes to show where our priorities are as a nation.
Maybe instead of getting
this is what makes it funny, though. The earlier copies of the Gettysburg Address never had under God in to begin with.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It wasn't even there.
Oh, man. So it's not only that it doesn't matter, it's also that they're wrong.
And also, like...
Oh, stupid people.
Even the, what is it called?
Oh, not stupid people, misinformed people, I'm sorry.
The inauguration, whatever they do when they swear in presidents, there was no mention of God until George Washington himself said, "So God help me." There was no mention of God. None.
George Washington was the first president.
I know, but I'm saying, like, it wasn't in the actual... I don't know if there's... Yes, thank you. It wasn't in the actual document. It wasn't until he said, "So help me God," at the end of it, that everyone's like, oh, you have to say, "So God help me."
Because he said...
Yeah, it's like... I would love to, like... Some president to have, like, the wherewithal to go, like, I'm going to swear myself in on a copy of the Constitution.
Why not?
Because
isn't that what we live off of in this country?
That's what should have.
Swear to withhold the Constitution, which we should really swear on instead of the Bible.
I'm not huge on swearing on any document.
No, I know.
If you're going to,
yeah.
If anything, I'll be like, can I have a registry of all the people that live in this country? I swear on these people that I'm going to withhold things on this document.
Yeah.
Like, you can't change that tradition.
But my question is, if we ever have a Jewish president,
we won't.
But if we do, we won't. We have a black president. What? We have a black president.
Yeah, but that's okay.
He's half black, half white.
I'm just saying, if we ever did have a Jewish president, would they be able to swear in on the Torah?
If, by the time we have a Jewish president, religion will mean so little in this country that it won't matter.
But we'll have a Jewish president
think
before we
it's
have an
gonna be that
atheist
long?
president.
Yeah. We won't be able to have a Jewish president until religion stops being such a big deal in this country.
We will
Because
have
then just be like,
Nagila.
oh, you're Jewish? I don't care. What's your policy on education? Like, it won't be a thing anymore.
Okay.
People will just there'll be segments of society who'll be like, he's Jewish. What's this all? What's going on? And then they'll just be like, it doesn't matter. Why are you talking about this, you crazy group of people?
Religion is the best wedge shoe to use to divide people.
It used to just be race because everyone was basically the same religion.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But now we all agree
religion.
that but now we all agree that dividing people based on religion is nonsense.
It is.
Or or
Race.
on race is nonsense.
Well,
So we pick something else.
yeah, so now we just pick something else. Eventually it's going to just be like, do you like Star Wars or Star Trek?
That happens now.
Well, yeah, but it'll be the only dividing factor.
So we'll have two countries, one that likes Star Trek and one that likes Star Wars.
But I don't watch either.
like both.
Harry Potter.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
I don't care.
There'll be the Godzilla
I've seen Star
principality.
Trek.
I'll be the atheist. I'll be the
There'll be
atheism
the
of sci-fi.
Democratic Republic of Harry Potter.
What about
No,
Doctor
Hogwarts.
Who?
Hmm?
What about Doctor Who? You'll be
I
with
really
They're
like
trying to be
Who.
Whoville.
Yeah.
It's full of nothing but
Whoville.
Doctor Who.
Yes.
Instead of, people actually live in Whoville. It's a Dr. Seuss thing.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Everyone's we're still kind of into the lies and misconceptions, so we're actually kind of quite on topic, believe it or not,
Which is unusual for us.
which is pretty cool.
Anyway, but actually get on to the topic. I did look up virtues, and well done, people. Wikipedia, the most trusted definition website on the internet,
Yes.
Yeah, we're not allowed to
describes
use it.
virtue as moral excellence. A virtue is a positive trait or quality deemed to be morally good, and thus is valued as a foundation of principle and of good moral being.
Which means be a Christian.
No.
There's a lot of things in here that I actually just disagree with on principle. Like, what defines good? What defines moral? And does being moral is it necessarily positive?
Here's
Great.
one false virtue. You have to believe in God in order to have morals.
We'll get to that.
How about this? The Euphothrow by Plato. Just
Isn't
reading
that
that story.
Socrates?
Oh, Socrates.
Well, Socrates
yeah.
is-
It was Socrates.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, he was telling the story about Socrates, but yeah, but it was about piety. It's basically the same thing.
And
All
they
right.
were polytheistic.
Well, let's get into piety. Piety is one of the first false virtues I just wanted to go into for the listeners who actually listen to this to learn something for some reason. Anyway,
Weirdos.
in spiritual terminology, piety is a virtue, it even says it in the definition, that can mean religious devotion, spirituality, or a combination of both. A common element in most conceptions of piety is humility. So now, I understand the idea of humility being a useful characteristic, as long as it's not done to excess.
Yeah. Some people are like that. It's kind of weird. It's like, be proud of who you are, but you don't have to be like up your face about
The
it.
one weirdest dichotomy I have ever seen one individual have is to be simultaneously the most arrogant person on the face of the earth and also be the most humble person on the face of the earth.
How is that possible?
Most Christians.
Oh.
They claim to be
But that's a claim. It's not actual.
no, but this is how they see themselves, apparently. Well, some Christians.
But that's
I don't want to paint
that's
too
a
broad of a
claim,
brush.
but
No, this is how they literally see themselves. Like, I know the actual,
yeah.
but it's like they believe that some of them believe that they are in the image of God, the literal God. Their lives are orchestrated and designed by the creator of the universe, but they're worthless scum and dust.
But they're awesome at the same time.
So it's just kind of like,
If you're created in the image of God, wouldn't that be like something really, really good? Because that's
the idea, is they're saying, I am created by the very creator of the universe, but I am scum of the earth, I deserve nothing, and I can't believe anyone will even look at me.
if you deserve nothing, then why do you insist on your?
That's the question.
But that's the idea. Christianity has the whole shtick where it's like you're born sick and demanded to be well, or commanded to be well.
You're born with original sin.
Yeah.
Couldn't it be like saying that you could be perfect?
Well, why don't we
No, it is.
No,
It's
I
saying,
agree with
it's
that.
saying you could be as great as Jesus, But you better worship God first.
Yeah, and if you don't, you're a piece of garbage.
Yes. People are trained to think that people that don't believe in Jesus are automatically bad people.
Especially if you're an atheist.
And you don't even have to be Christian for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of other religions that believe things like that, which is kind of like, it's required to make it a religion. Because if that wasn't part of the religion, then why would you see it as something you should do?
Well, religion in itself...
it makes you have to be a special class.
And
if you're not a special class of person, it's basically not a religion.
That's kind of funny, because if you think of religion, it's kind of like, a dictatorship, except the dictator is out in ethereal world, and he's above everything else in a way. So if you don't actually believe that this king is in the clouds, you are nothing. You are nothing without him.
I really like the word ethereal.
So it sounds like a cognitive dissonance, if anything.
It is. I think piety is a very, humility, maybe. A general sense of humility, you guys think?
Yeah.
A general sense of humility, I think, is a...
Nobody likes an asshole.
Well, not even that.
Lie.
Just to kind of...
What? What are you talking about?
What exactly does humility
nobody likes,
mean?
you
Is
said
that
nobody
like
likes an a-hole.
humbleness, or is
Yeah, humility is...
Okay.
Oh, let's look.
You said
We
nobody likes
have
an
the
a-hole.
And?
internet. Is seen as the act or posture of lowering oneself in relation to others, or conversely, having a clear perspective and therefore respect for one's place in context.
Oh, okay.
But it goes on to say, in religious context, this can mean a recognition of self in relation to a deity or deities, acceptance of one's defects and subjugation to divine grace, or as a member of an organized hierarchical religion.
Sounds like anthrotheism almost.
Like worship people?
Yeah, like the person is a god or a deity. Almost. Not quite, but...
In religion, that often happens. That's kind of how cults happen.
I think they kind of have a point with that, but I think humility should more like be to the point of understanding that you're on the same level as everybody else, and not like you're lower than everyone else, or you're lower than God.
I really don't like this kind of... I think it's supposed to be a lack. It goes on to say like a lack of narcissism, hubris, or other forms of pride.
Arrogance.
So I would actually, I think I'd include that in a false virtue. That humility, as it's defined, is not actually a virtue. I would agree. I agree with you. Just to say that a general sense of we are all equal is a very good stepping stone to actual moral behavior. What are you people looking at?
Nothing.
Begins with P, but I'm not going to say it.
Huh?
Is it a group of penises?
Yes.
A great bouquet of penises.
Yep.
You were the one that told
wiener.
Anyway.
All right, so what our female guests, our female listeners are... I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Oxa and Izzy are looking at something. I don't know.
Dig it.
All right, moving on.
Well, let me see. We touched on the humility and hubris, arrogance.
Yeah, I think arrogance, I don't think is necessarily bad, but it really depends on the context. If it's arrogance in the sense that you know that you are able to accomplish something,
but
then you should be proud of your ability to accomplish something.
People draw a thin line though. They say confidence and they say arrogance.
So what is it?
So what is that thin line?
Arrogance is more like, well, just because I know about one thing, like I know about networking. Oh, I'm better than all of you because I know about networking. Babushka. It's like totally discrediting. Regarded Nope, you don't know anything.
So it's like an overabundance of confidence.
Wait,
Yes.
So confidence would be a plus for the person who is talking about his accomplishments, but like it'd be commensalist. It'd be like, to the person he's talking, doesn't really affect them because you're just saying, yeah, I'm really great at programming. I'm really great at video games. I'm really great at this. I'm really good. It's hard to rival me, but I'm very good. Mm-hmm. And arrogance will be like a plus for the person who's talking about it, but a minus to the other person would say, I'm great at programming. The rest of you guys are just miserable. You guys suck at this.
It's kind of like cognitive dissonance, which is which actually happens to be another virtue. Because if you were raised a certain way, a virtue would be upholding your belief system and never letting anything else in, and that's sort of arrogant. Because you're saying, well, because I was raised a certain way by my family.
That kind of goes into the piety thing.
Yeah.
Pretty much how you're describing it. It's like, I'm so pious because I'm completely adherent and humble to my religion. It's definitely right, and I have no right to say different.
Well, it's not just that, but it's actually arrogance at the same time, because even if somebody says...
oh my god, the dissonance is ridiculous.
Oh, you're God.
It's like, oh, you're God. It's like, you're right. It's like saying, oh, so I am so pious and wonderful because I devote myself to this wonderful God who created me special and loves me but not you.
Yes.
So you're simultaneously an arrogant ass and humble.
No. What? Religion sort of like combines it all.
It depends
on one
on
little big cookie and shoves it in your mouth.
It's the direction of the humility and the direction of the arrogance. And the direction of the humility is going towards the Creator, but the arrogance is going towards another human being.
Yeah,
now, this is
like
the idea,
saying,
though.
"Ha, you're wrong. I'm right. I'm so bad."
No, but you see, this thing you have to remember is like the idea of the Creator is still just an idea it's just a reflection of the speaker.
Yeah, it's an extension of them.
So they're trying to create a humility within themselves, or an image of themselves, and then projecting arrogance on everyone around them.
It's kind of like being angry, really angry at something, and projecting it.
It's like being extremely angry at yourself and projecting it on everyone else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is. That's the key word, projection. It's projection.
I forget who did that quote. They're like, I forget who did that quote, but there's something about like, isn't it coincidental that your God hates the same people you do?
That was Susan B. Anthony, and it was Susan B. Anthony. She was like, I can't remember the exact quote. I'm gonna look it up. Keep talking.
Hey, internet people.
Yeah, go back on your computer.
I'm an internet person.
Continue. I have to know what the answers are.
See, there you go. But yeah, somebody did say that. It's amazing that there's a coincidence that the God hates everything you hate. The God loves everything you love.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, like example, I use the war example all the time. You have this country go against this country. And this country believes in God. This country also believes in God. Both of them pray to God that, hey, we're going to win. We're going to win.
All right. I just trust those who know so well as what God wants them to do because I noticed it always coincides with their own desires. Susan B. Anthony.
There we go.
It's funny because in that respect, both of the same things that we talked about relates to cognitive dissonance and how we related it to projection. That's sort of like nationalism, where it's like, my country, right or wrong. So if you figure out that your country is doing something that's morally reprehensible, like Guantanamo Bay, basically going against the Geneva Convention, it doesn't matter because it's my country and we're fighting for freedom.
American patriotism is a great, the whole world police thing. That totally goes to the whole lies, misconceptions. We are pious because we're the most powerful country.
Germany used that for the Third Reich.
It's like we're actively occupying like 40 to 50% of the world.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We're one of the few countries that have bases in other countries. Even in Russia. There is an American base somewhere in Russia. I don't know how they pulled that one off, but they did.
And we still have some in Japan that they're really mad at
Korea.
us.
Yeah, I mean, we could go all day about that, but I'm not going to do that. But I hate to say it, but our own country is a great example of this overbearing hubris that we possess. Mm-hmm. That we are the world police. We're able to clean it up. And it's funny because even Obama said that, well, we're not the world police, but we're going to go help these countries anyways because we'll be doing the world a disservice if we don't help.
He did the right thing. He had Congress vote on it.
Yeah. But even so, it's still like, again, we're still the pawns. But again, we're not going to turn this into a political debate. Moralizing misconceptions.
Let's move on. Okay, so we can kind of agree.
Can we go secular? Is there anything secular as far as lies and misconceptions?
No.
We can even go into little childhood stuff like the boogeyman.
Well, no, this is specifically supposed to be false virtues.
Oh, false virtues. Okay.
So what other false virtues?
Let me
It's
see.
like I have several, but
I know that not all atheists think this way, obviously, but some people that just came into atheism because they are really actually angry at God and they're like doing it because it's cool and stuff. They think that they're right about everything.
Trendy atheists.
Like when you come, like not all the time. Usually, after quite a few years of becoming an atheist, you become more well-grounded.
Yeah.
But once you become it, sometimes you just like to say, "Oh, I'm better than everyone else.
Yeah.
I'm right about everything." Oh,
I
like
call them
being
the
so
trendy
Christian,
atheists,
yeah.
and a lot of I call them trendy atheists because it's like it's cool to bash those guys, so let's do it too. You'll have these atheists who are like, "Well, I don't believe in God because it's stupid." That basically means people who believe in God are freaking stupid.
Reddit
You know?
atheism.
Yeah.
Reddit
So it's like the
atheism.
minute somebody talks about God, it's like, oh, you're a freaking idiot. Stop talking about that sky daddy dude. You're such a freaking idiot. And you'll see some atheists like that. The problem is those are the ones that stand out, and they label all those atheists as, you know, this loudmouth bigot over here, which is kind of funny because, like, you know, they're complaining about the Christians and the Jewish and the Muslims being bigots and stuff, but here they are turning around saying that everybody that believes in God are freaking silly, complete morons. And now, do I think the concept of God is silly? I do think the concept of God is silly, but I don't consider the person to be like a complete moron and an idiot because there's plenty of Christians out there that I know who are very well versed in math, excellent in English. They know a great deal about history. They can outdo me in all those areas. So I can't call them idiots. But do I think
Notice Dante didn't say science.
Well, and some aspects of science they may be good at. I mean, there's some people who believe in God and they understand evolution and even believe in it.
It's like I love the statistic that's like most people that believe in evolution are Christian, and most Christians believe in evolution.
What?
It's true.
Really?
Just by numbers.
Wow. Amazing.
Like this, we're like 13% atheists, so obviously that's how it is.
Yeah. But I mean, the false virtue is that, well, I'm an atheist and I'm better than you. That goes around the same lines as a theist. They're not that much different. I'm not afraid to call those atheists out. It's like, hey, that Christian's not stupid. I mean, sure, he believes in something that it just seems really ridiculous to us. I don't think the person as a whole is a complete dumbass.
I was always. I mean, I'm not to be pious or anything, but when
Be pious.
when I became an atheist, I was always very, at one time I was extremely anti-theist, but I wasn't against the individual people who believed in God.
Yeah.
I was just against the religion
The
itself.
principles.
No,
Yeah.
you can be a humanist anti-theist.
Well, yeah,
There's one.
Anti-theist just means that you really
Well,
despise religion.
I agree
That's
with
David.
you. It was just that some people some people don't actually understand that it's not wrong with the actual people themselves, but it's wrong because they're being deceived by something that is a false belief system, like Christianity.
I know this is very abrupt, but I kind of want to go back into. Remember how we was talking about the kids earlier and stuff?
Yeah.
I think I found a really big misconception of false virtue: being a parent.
Yeah.
Okay, what I've noticed with a lot of parents, this is not every parent, a lot of parents, they assume that automatically when you have children, you are an adult.
It makes you a moral.
Exactly.
It makes you a moral person.
Exactly.
You're awesome. You are smart, and it's like you can't tell me anything about kids because I had them.
And it's a
and I look at them like.
And it's a vice not to be married. It's a vice to be single, but only if you're a man. Because if you're a woman, actually, no, that's not true.
We'll get to that,
but
but definitely the parents.
What?
Definitely the parents.
The parent thing is very true. They're saying like having kids. I've been in so many arguments with people with kids about child rearing.
Yeah.
And do you know what I do? I pile like psychology studies. I pile like evidence that's been on tests being conducted for 20 years.
Cynics then.
And they're just like, yeah, you're wrong because I've had kids and it works. And it's like, all right, if you're too arrogant to admit that you could be wrong about something you did no research in, then there's no reason to talk to you, and I hope your kids get out of your house soon.
There was this individual that I was speaking to on Facebook. I don't even remember their name, so perhaps a little bit arrogantly, I said that religion is child abuse. And the person attacked me, and they're like, oh, no, you don't know. You don't have any kids. And I'm like, but it is. If you're going to tell someone, your child, who's very susceptible to any of these belief systems, that they're going to go to hell if you're not something that God likes, then it's child abuse.
No, and here's to make this, I think it's my catchphrase now, to make this very clear. When you say that it's what God wants, all you're saying is this child is going to burn in hell if it does not obey what I want.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying to your child, because you don't follow everything in the Bible. You don't follow anything even close to the Bible. You're just trying to use the authority given by popular opinion for thousands of years to control what your child does.
Antiquated.
Antiquated ideas without explaining any benefit from them, or providing any evidence that the idea is a good idea. Children aren't idiots. They understand, oh, I shouldn't touch this because it's hot. And they understand, I shouldn't pull her hair because I don't like my hair being pulled. Kids aren't stupid. They will obey. They won't obey, but they will figure out that certain things are not good ideas.
And another thing that I actually mentioned within that conversation was that you're not there to just teach your children. You're there to learn from your kids as well, because sometimes their wisdom will surpass even yours.
One thing that annoyed me so much growing up is my parents would never discuss money with me, ever, for any reason.
Yeah.
Still won't.
Yeah.
Outright refuses. And I'm just like, I'm an adult now. Why won't you, this is important information.
Yeah.
David had one on his own.
No, and even, like, when growing up, if I knew, like, I still have no idea what my dad made, but if it turned out that we were spending too much money on, like, food or something, I would have helped. I would have been like, oh, let me help find sales. Why don't we shop at a cheaper grocery store?
It's
like
funny.
I would have helped if I knew.
I mean, with my parents, that was never an issue. Like, we discussed money, but not in the normal, not normal sense. Like, I never had an allowance growing up.
I didn't either.
Go back to your computer.
Shut up. So, like, for my parents, like, money wasn't an issue. Like, they would give me whatever I needed. But, like, now I'm starting to realize it's a little not such a good idea, because I don't know how to control money very well.
There is the principle that, like, give your kid a minimum wage job, effectively. Either get them to get a real job or basically have literal, you work for 4 hours, you get minimum wage for 4 hours.
No, like, I mean, I'm better about it now.
And then they'll just be like, now this is why our country is so unfair.
Yeah. No, I'm saying I'm better about it now because, like, I have my own job, I have my own credit cards, I have my own everything. So, like, I keep track of my bank account, so I know what I'm spending, where it's going, and all that stuff. But, like, when I had my dad's credit card, I was going crazy with it, like, literally going crazy with it, and just, like, always going out to dinner and hanging, shopping with my friends and all this other crazy stuff, because I didn't even keep track of how much I was spending, and, like, I had no way of seeing it because all the bills went to my parents. Like, for me, this was like, here's a credit card, do whatever.
Sometimes you have to learn the hard way.
No, sometimes you have to learn the hard way and be like, damn, I actually can't afford this computer or TV or this new shirt or something. And just be like, I have to return it. I need to spend this money on food.
Dante wants to speak.
Yeah, I was trying to bring it back to the false misconceptions with parenthood and everything. I remember quite a few of them told me they were like Dante, when you have children, you'll finally understand what it is to be a man. And I'm like, so until I procreate, I am still a boy. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm pretty sure you're a man by now.
No, you see when you have children, your penis gets 4 times as large.
Oh, okay, I got you.
That's how fatherhood works.
But it's utterly ridiculous to.
You have planted your seeds, sir. You are a man.
Yeah, evolutionarily, but
that doesn't make it's dumb.
Yeah, it is. People come up. People have these weird ideas of. I mean, it's this gender thing. You know, people have these conceptions of what a man and a woman are supposed to be, and they base it off of totally arbitrary things, like having kids. You know, you'll learn more when you have kids. Okay, I'll learn more about, kids, yeah, especially my own, but I don't think that's going to retard my learning for anything else, even with kids. I mean, I could watch my 2 little cousins stuff, sure. They're not my children. They didn't come from my girlfriend or wife or whatever, but I am learning how to change diapers and all this other. Let me see. I keep coming back and looking. Wow.
Thank you, Finn. That was an important part that you needed to come in for.
But I just don't see being less of a man.
Finn walked in when I yelled, "You have planted your seeds."
I just don't see being less of a man, whatever that means, just because I did not have children. Or
Dante.
Yeah.
You'll understand after you have kids.
Okay.
See, I think the thing they're actually trying to get at is that when you're alone, when you're single, you usually just have to take care of yourself. But when you actually have children, you have to take care of the children and your family and become the provider of the family.
No, like this is the one thing, is having a family and having children does change your life. Yes. Like, that's a fact. Like, that's indisputable. But the idea that it changes incredibly core characteristics of you, that's a choice.
Really?
And a lot of people don't make that choice. A lot of people stay exactly the same, and it's fine for them.
Could you elaborate?
There's the whole, like, there's an old comic that made me laugh that was like, "Oh, your boyfriend is such a dork. Why do you go out with him?" And it shows this guy playing with Legos and spaceships. And then it shows him with kids.
Yeah.
And he's playing with Legos and playing with spaceships, and he's like, "Oh, your husband's such a great father."
Exactly.
And it's like,
wow.
Having kids just means you get to play with toys again. I don't.
I want to have kids.
That's a funny thing, because it actually.
It's like everyone looks at me weird when I play with Barbies on the subway.
It's funny because really what it's saying is that what you're really supposed to do is not change who you are once you have kids. It's because you're supposed to teach yourself.
No, it's not that you change who you are. It's that you develop more.
Yes.
Like, it's complicated. Like, new characteristics might come up. You might be more responsible when you have someone that actually depends on you. But it doesn't have to. And a lot of times it doesn't at all. And that's kind of the point. The process of having a child often surprises the hell out of people. They don't step up to the responsibility, and they run like hell from it.
Yes.
So if becoming a father makes you a man, then what about all those men that just flee the scene immediately?
They're not fathers.
They're not men because they're just dealing with the kids.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
No, technically they are. They're the father, they're just not a dad.
Biologically, they are fathers.
Biologically speaking, but cognitively
sociologically.
So if you want to be very thorough on this, it would be like, having a child doesn't change anything about who you are, but fathering one probably does.
But does it make you better?
Alternatively, having a child as a woman changes who you are, and mothering one also changes who you are.
But does it make you better?
Sorry, ladies, but the child grows inside you.
But does it make you better? When you have kids, are you a better human being than somebody who doesn't have kids?
No.
Depends on the country you live in. If you're in Japan, then yes. If you're in Japan, have as many kids as physically possible.
So it's sociological.
Yes, it is.
There we go.
If you're Japan, don't.
If you're a woman in Japan, just spray children constantly.
If you're in Japan, don't buy that Japanese love pillow. Instead, have a girlfriend and have babies.
Hamster.
Because we need more children in Japan. Absolutely. Darn it.
You know, in China, they abort fetuses and use them as soup.
30 seconds.
I don't think
That's
that's true.
disgusting.
I think that's true.
I really don't think that's true. And in the last 30 seconds, I'm going to say thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope it is as informative to you as it was confusing for me. We'll be back in 15 minutes to talk about probably more religious virtues and see where that goes. Have a nice 15 minutes. I am David McDevitt. Tacos are a food eaten often in Mexico. Goodbye.